Hello and welcome to today's video. My name's Haley and today we're going over the SIDDHI state of light. I just woke up, so some pretty crazy bedhead. Yes, the SIDDHI state of light. He titles this chapter Uprooting the Tree of Knowledge of Good and Evil. Okay, that's quite the visual. I imagine God's hands, whatever kind of hands those are, feminine, masculine, animalistic, human, angelic, uprooting this tree with all of the might in the universe and all this kind of good and evil pouring out of the dirt. That's kind of what comes to my mind when I read that title, Uprooting the Tree of Knowledge of Good and Evil. I think of a balancing. All the good and the evils coming up to be seen, to be washed away. Clean slate. Just pure. And it's funny because sometimes I think purity has this kind of connotation of good, but real pure means clean, clear, uprooting everything. So that's something to hold into your mind's eye as I walk us all through this. He notes here that the 11th gene key in a whole, this light of Eden, is a unique course of self-empowerment that encounters many twists and turns. So it's not an easy ride necessarily, which is good, right? It's in overcoming a trial in your life that you not only gain self-empowerment, but you also learn from your mistakes, evolve moving forward into a more loving version of yourself. It's these twists and turns that make this unique course worth writing. If it was such a simple straight line, we'd probably all be really, really, really bored right now. And he continues on to say, these challenges need to be confronted and ultimately embraced. Okay, so imagine you're on your unique course. There's a turn coming up. You can't avoid the turn. If you avoid the turn, you get off track, literally. So they need to be confronted. You need to turn into the turn and ultimately embraced. So what does that mean? That means not only am I going with the turn, I'm like, okay, we're turning. I'm not like, oh my God, we're turning. So confronted and embraced, ultimately embraced. Emphasis on the word ultimately, implying that resistance is also a part of this unique course. How many times have I resisted a challenge or part of my course? Even though it's still there, it's still happening. I let it happen while rejecting it, closing my eyes, ignoring it, acting unconscious. So in order to be embodied within this SIDDHI state of light, this energy of embrace is required. An acceptance of the reality, whether it's good or bad. And again, through this title, Uprooting the Tree of Knowledge of Good and Evil, we can infer that all egoic labels that decide what's good and what's bad start to cease. There's a pure, clean slate. Therefore, everything is able to easily and effortlessly be embraced, be accepted, be seen. And he says here how all the archetypes that we've talked about throughout this chapter ultimately boil to one single primary archetype. He says this primary archetype represents the distillation of all aspects of your nature, and its appearance is so powerful that it literally brings an end to the process of evolution and growth. Okay, so what's this archetype? Well, he calls it the inner daemon, Daemon. I had never heard that word. It looks like the word demon. I'm sure it has some relation to that. I honestly don't know too much about it. But he says you must sit face to face with this inner daemon, feeling all the feelings that it engenders, the awe, the terror, the chaos, and the love. So essentially, you have to sit with yourself, uproot the tree of knowledge, look at all the good and evil that pours out. You must become acquainted with the entirety of your own human experience. So I'm assuming the name of this archetype is Daemon. Daemon. Once again, that's about all I know about that. So if you'd like to research that, feel free to do so. Oh, here he actually gives us another name. So yes, the archetype is named Daemon. Another word for it is doppelganger. I've heard of that word. Doesn't that mean someone that looks like you but's not you and you don't know them? It does, but it's also a name for this inner daemon, this archetype. Something that's not you, but resembles you. That you must sit with and face. All those inner thoughts, emotions, feelings, experiences, energy stored in the body. This is the archetype. This is the inner daemon. This is the doppelganger that you must sit with. He says many different creeds and cultures have various names for it. He says the Christians call it the devil in the wilderness. I've never heard of that, and I was raised Christian. And he said in Freudian psychology, it's called the Gnostic guardian of the threshold. I've also never heard of that. But basically, this archetype, in a nutshell, is the summation of collective mythic projections of good and evil. All labels. And as you start to confront this inner daemon, the separate self, the ego, the part of us that thinks we're separate from source and all other humans and all of consciousness, begins to dissolve into the archetype itself. You start to fuse into one. So any urge to identify with anything, whether it's, I really like this coffee, or I'm sipping something, imagine I'm sipping something. I really don't like this coffee. Any ability to place a label, good or bad, on anything will start to poof away, disappear. It is although the world has become purified. Back to that visual at the beginning. You uproot this tree, all the little good and evil bugs and roots come out, and you're just left with this clean slate, this pure sheet. A clear, pure light, he says. And an intelligence beyond identification. Pure presence. Imagine that. Oh wait, you can't because we're talking about acidic state. So this is a reminder for these acidic state videos. These are meant to be fun, light, playful. We're dancing around a topic, trying to explain something that realistically can never be explained because it's not meant to be explained. What I articulate through this video is kind of meant just to be received through here, since we are quite literally talking about an enlightened state of being. He says this siddhi represents the result of what happens when all the archetypal memory stored in the collective unconscious has been filtered and expressed through an individual's life. You've pierced the veil. And he notes here that you'll start to once again see the world through the eyes of a child. That reminds me of a gene key in the past. Where was that one? I remember that gene key, eyes of a child. Let's see if I can find it. Ah, yes, through the eyes of a child, the third gene key, where we went from chaos to innovation to innocence. Similar to that, and this gene key, because of your pure nature, your clean slate, you will start to also see the world through the third Siddhic state of innocence, a childlike wonder and playfulness, a curiosity. Well, I want to know what that is because nothing has a label. I want to figure everything out. I want to try everything. I want to put it in my mouth, even if it's not edible, because I don't know anything. Right? This is how the child navigates through the world. Obviously, the younger the child is, the cleaner the slate is, the less labels they've put upon things. You'll see the true nature of mind as emptiness or spaciousness. Mind or no mind, same thing, is experienced through the brain as pure light, divine presence. And this is going to start to provide you a breath of peace, he says, continually breaking like a wave within every single viewed form. So this presence keeps washing over you, keeps cleaning your slate, keeps you in this state of kind of awe and wonder. And one of the SIDDHI gifts that is received in the embodiment of this state is that now everything you view or you perceive is measured in terms of light and frequency. And it's very clear to the individual who has this SIDDHI state embodied who is being authentic and who is pretending. Who's being real and who's putting on a show or a mask for the rest of us. Who's telling the full raw truth and who's telling a half truth or lying. Becomes very clear. And this is not something this person even has to, start to speak with people about. It's a feeling. It's a knowing. It's an instantaneous download. So that's very cool. Immediately seeing that which resonates. Being able to identify others that are also operating from this clear state of being. And he notes here that these people quite literally appear enrobed in light because that's all they can see. Therefore, it's what they're emanating. This makes me think of Ben, who I've mentioned multiple times now. The man is like glowing in this robe of light, affirmed. And I will just say this, even you who's watching, if you don't necessarily know anyone who you think is enlightened, I'm sure there's someone you can think of that has just an eminence to them. They walk into the room and you do feel like to a certain degree they're glowing. Maybe it's not their whole body, but something about like their face or their eyes. Sometimes you can see sparkles in the eyes, I find, with really like tapped in people. People that are really connected, really are starting to clean that slate. So that's something to observe the next time you have an interaction with a stranger, perhaps trying to see the light in them, because once again, that's a reflection of the light emanating from you. So that's pretty cool. And he says that these people are idealists when it comes to the world. And when they come into the world, they change the world. This is non-negotiable. There's a fly around me. This is hey buddy, don't bother me. This is non-negotiable. When these people come into the world, inevitably their presence of light changes the world. Another such generation is being born into the world. Cool. These future idealists will carry more of the SIDDHI frequency into the world, laying the foundation for another great revolution. And this revolution will be different than our past technological revolution, right? This is going to be laying the foundation for a transformation of the human spirit, of the ability to see things clearly. This revolution is going to be one of enlivening and enlightening and being more present with not only all the people in your life, but all the experiences too. Yes, even the simple thing of, can I more clearly, more presently enjoy this cup of coffee? And so he's saying here that this new wave, these new babies coming in hot, like little pancakes, literally have more of this SIDDHI frequency already embodied within them. So that's kind of cool. Maybe if you're cooking up one soon, you'll have an enlightened kid. Someone that's going to transform the human spirit itself. Once again, just by being who they are, by simply entering the world. So then he points out, yes, you can have this SIDDHI state embodied into you if you're a fresh little hot cake being baked and entering the world soon. Or this SIDDHI state can come into fruition through another avenue. There's actually endless avenues, right? But another one that he mentions here is that this person who attains the SIDDHI state, who did not enter into the world already embodied within this frequency, does so through traveling to the darkest aspects of their psyche. Okay. So, has a shit ton of dark night of the souls. Goes through something super, super difficult, whether that's, a terminal illness or, I don't know, a tragic car crash, like something just horrible that brings out all of the darkest parts of the human experience to the surface of your mind in order to be shown the light of awareness and therefore liberated, right? And he notes here how the 11th shadow, which we went over in past videos, of obscurity, wants this light, wants this pure, clean slate without having to embrace the dark, without having to go through that dark night of the soul or endure that turn. They're resisting the turn. They don't even want to see it. They don't want nothing to do with it. Whereas the person in the SIDDHI state not only sees the turn, realizes they're going towards the turn because it's just a part of life, they also embrace it. And so in embracing your challenges, you can start to step closer into this SIDDHI state. And once again, we're talking about this kind of in a linear fashion. This is not linear because it's a SIDDHI state, but I am confined by the human language trying to describe something that's not meant to be described, so bear with me. He notes here, light has never been outside of us, but resides deep within matter itself. It's a little known paradoxical law that the densest regions conceal the highest vibrations, and that true ascension moves downwards and inwards. Okay, let's read all of that one more time. Light has never been outside of us, but resides deep within matter itself. It's in here. Okay, so if it's not outside of us, that means no book is going to save me. No podcast I listen to is going to save me. No spiritual retreat is going to save me. No specific technique is going to save me. Nothing outside of me has this light that I need. This light is in the matter. It's in the body. It's in me. So that's the first thing he really drills home. And then when he continues, he says, it's a little known paradoxical law, meaning not a lot of people are aware of this, that the densest regions conceal the highest vibrations. The densest regions conceal the highest vibrations. Okay, so that turn in my life that I really want to resist, that loved one dying and all the grief and gosh, just the pain coming up, that dense, dark region of my life is where the highest vibrations are concealed, waiting to be unlocked. What turn are you resisting? Because that is where all of this energy wants to come up to be transformed into purity. Something you could think about here, this first contemplation being, where am I going with trepidation? I get a little bit closer and I'm like, I'm not ready to tackle that. Where is there kind of some fear, some resistance? I'm like, I'd rather not do that. I'm just gonna, maybe later. And then you just, maybe later. You keep kicking the can down the road. Where is this kind of affliction to life? Maybe it is in the processing of the loved one that passed. And rather than processing all that, you're like, I'm just going to distract myself and go out with my friends every day. Or maybe it is, you need to step back into a job or an activity that has maybe caused some fear in the past. And instead of doing it, you're like, I'll just do it next year. Or I'll just do it tomorrow. Or I'll just keep pushing it away. Where is there fear, resistance, or trepidation? And becoming aware of this, you can start to see the turn, first of all. See the turn that you're resisting and bring in this awareness that these dense regions conceal the highest vibrations. And this is what's going to help you truly ascend, he says. As you're taking this turn, can you stay in here, knowing that the light ultimately is in you, and it's this turn, this event in your life, this trial or tribulation that helps you unlock what's in here. It's like the key that you need to get to the next level. The mass consciousness operating out of the left side of the brain. Wait, left side. It's this side of the brain. Favors the light above all else. Spiritual bypassing is a perfect example. Oh, I'm familiar with that. Oh no, everything's great. It's all love and light and rainbows. All I do is meditate. Oh, no drugs, no alcohol. No, I'm above that. I've had this phase. This obsession with light, when really obsession with anything is caused by the avoidance of something else. Darkness, shadow. And so light is masculine, whereas darkness is feminine. So there's this mass obsession with the masculine, with the light, and this rejection of the feminine, of the darkness, of the right brain. But again, it's this upsurge in darkness, this embracing of the turn that always precedes breaking through of true light coming from here. Not just this cherry picking light that is false and fleeting. So the two need each other, right? The masculine, the light, the left brain needs the right brain, needs the trial and tribulation, needs the embracing of the shadow. You can't actually have light without darkness. Oh, so cheesy, but so true. So the longer we collectively fixate on the light and ignore the darkness, we actually in turn get neither. And I'll give you guys a simple example that I thought of yesterday. So there's someone in my life and I was really missing them the other day. And then I was telling my dad, I was like kind of like really sad about it. I was like, I just really miss them. And my dad goes, oh, Haley, don't you think it's so beautiful that you have someone to miss? Like so many people don't feel this way because they don't have someone they love that much to miss that much. And he brought to my awareness that there are two sides to this coin. I can only miss something I really like. Therefore, implying that if I didn't really like something, there also wouldn't be this kind of sad energy of missing it. Point being, you either get the full enchilada, loving someone and missing them, or nothing at all. And this is on a sliding scale, obviously. But the degree to which you miss someone is the degree to which you have an admiration or a love or an inspiration for them. And I have actually written a poem about this concept as well in the past, about how you either get the full two sides of the coin or no coin at all. So I'll tag that below. But it's true, you need the darkness and the light. You cannot cherry pick the light. It doesn't work like that. It's one coin. You got to take the whole coin. And this coin is currency, it's energy. So you do want the coin. You want the full enchilada. All my analogies, oh my gosh. I love the full enchilada analogy though, honestly. I don't know where I got that. Like, I have no idea. I don't know if my dad made it up or if I saw it somewhere, but it's a good one. As long as we see things in terms of good and evil, we have embraced the fall. And then he reminds us that in the future, the 55th gene key will come into humanity and crack open our perception of the world. Symbolically, once again, uprooting this tree of life, of knowledge of good and evil. And we'll start to live in pure presence. Now, doesn't that sound nice? He brings up 2012, noting that that was a very pinnacle change for the collective. He said it's known as the time as the melodic resonance. It's bringing geometric alignment into the center of our galaxy. Richard Rudd's getting a little woo-woo on us, which I appreciate, I'll just note. If you don't, no worries. Take what resonates, leave the rest. He says, as we move through and beyond 2012, which was quite a while ago now, we are going to rapidly transform our entire ecosystem. I would say a lot has happened since 2012, but also I've only been alive since 1999, so I'm sure someone with a broader range of life experience could speak light to the rapid pace of evolution since 2012. So maybe go ask a loved one that's older or a random grandma you meet in a cafe. What's it been like since 2012? Do you feel that it's sped up? That's a homework item. Go meet a random old person and ask them that. And he notes how since 2012, this rapid transformation is actually catalyzing this SIDDHI state of light in many individuals, which once again, if you're not born into this world like a little hot cake of enlightenment, the person who attains it in this life, already birthed, does so through traveling through the darkest aspects of their psyche. 2012 ignited this energy. There's a lot of people around traveling through the darkest aspects of their psyche in order to unlock this. Again, maybe not by conscious choice. And that's really interesting because you do look around the world and you look around, you see a lot of dark stuff happening, right? I'm not even going to get into that. On a global level and on personal levels, I'm sure you guys have friends who are working through really hard things. And this is all, once again, for the purpose to unlock the true light. There is rhyme and reason to this darkness emerging, even though the rhyme and reason really honestly cannot be understood by the limited human mind. But he says here that this will exponentially increase the frequency field of the whole of humanity and Gaia herself, of the earth itself. And I don't know. I read all that and I thought, I just feel like that's true. I do feel like there is light waiting in all of these tragedies, waiting to be embraced so that we can unlock it and exponentially increase the frequency of the whole of humanity and Gaia. So I'm going to take that as truth. I wrote a little mini poem here. I read this a few weeks ago. Very simple. I'll read this for you guys before we wrap up. It says, light seeing all as is, loving all as is, observing all, seeing beauty in all, the absence of judgment brings presence to all. Cool. Well, that wraps up the 11th gene key, the Light of Eden. So stay tuned next time for the 12th gene key, which I forgot the title of. So you'll find that out in the next video. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in with me for this Gene Keys episode. I also just wanted to come on here and start promoting my one-to-one coaching that I offer to women and girls ages 16 to 35. If you've followed me on Instagram for a while, you might be a little bit familiar with my story. I was a model in New York City for 5 years, and in that time frame, I did quite some damage. I developed a really severe eating disorder, body dysmorphia, chronic anxiety. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even go out to dinner without thinking about how much calories, how much I'd have to overwork out in order to compensate for what I was eating. All of those issues led to quite a depression and turned into PCOS, and I also lost my menstrual cycle for over 5 years. All of this amalgamation of issues led me to soon realize that something needed to change. I went through much work. Many people helped me to get to where I am now, and I'm so thrilled to say I'm living such a more abundant life, and I don't feel zapped and drained and fear of judgment anymore like I used to. I would love to offer what I've learned through my own embodied experience, the meditative techniques that have gravitated toward me, and the own verified games that I've made up and curated to help you walk home to more of you and who you really are, so that all of these things can stop draining your energy. You know, all the constant comparison to others and to your people on Instagram, all the over-analysis about working out and what you're eating or what you look like. All of these things are not what life's about, as cheesy as it sounds. And I would love to help you come into more unity with you if you struggle with any of these things and you're a woman or girl between the ages of 16 and 35. So feel free to reach out to me if one-on-one coaching sounds resonant. You can feel free to DM me through Instagram or contact me via email, both of which will be left below in the description box. So much love and aloha to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.